I'll just quickly go through the changes which are happening into the IT these days, because we are all talking about how the innovations are helping in the business. Now, since the innovations and the technologies are moving fast, we are actually inviting more and more security challenges also to be incorporated. So we'll see how we'll address that. What is the solution strategy? And then I know if the time is less, but after during the cocktails we can have the discussion and the question answers. So the key things that I'm talking, one is the consumerization. That is what we are seeing these days, which is growing very fast. Applications are exploding. Everyone is having your iPhones, iPads, and the tabs, and we are having more and more applications which are coming up. Multiple platforms are getting developed. Previously, we only used to have Windows, Linux, and Macintosh kind of thing. Now you are having more platforms like iPhones, you are having platforms like Androids, and applications are getting developed for those platforms also. Web 2.0 is again the new trend which we have seen these days. More and more social networking things are getting developed and people are collaborating. Previously, the websites are only used to publish the information, but now we are collaborating on those social networking sites. And the third thing is the cloudization part, where we are trying to consolidate everything using the virtualization part. People are talking about the public clouds or the private clouds. And this is one of the things that we have noticed, that how the graph of the desktop based machines is growing down and the mobile population is increasing. So this is one of the key things which comes to our mind, that when we are talking about accessing those applications from these mobile devices, how secure is when we try to access this application from the mobile devices, because the same device is used for the personal use also, and we are trying to use the same device for the business use also. So this is one of the key challenge that we see when we talk about the consumerization. The second interesting fact that we see is these days is that everyone, I suppose everyone in this room is having a Facebook account, and if we take the Facebook user content into consideration, it is the third largest country in the world, and Twitter is the 7th largest country. So this is the growth of Web 2.0 applications that we are noticing. And what Gartner used to say is that 23% of the average time that people spend on the social networking sites is done at the office times. So since we are talking about IT consumerization, social networking happenings, cloudization is happening, the threat landscape is also changing. Now the threats are multi-vector in nature. Multi-vector in the sense, previously we used to have threats which are only coming from outside to inside. You have threats like viruses, you have threats like intrusions which are happening. But now the one more category of vector which has evolved, which is from inside to outside, and what we call as a bot. Because your machine is compromised and it is controlled by command and control center lying into your network. So it is controlled by somebody sitting onto the internet, which takes control of your machine and try to get the information related to the business information, related to the personal information, and the stuff like that. And with this, the cyber crime is also getting more and more powerful. We are getting warfares as a cyber warfare. We are having the state-sponsored cyber cells, where one country is developing a cyber cell to fight with the cyber cells of the other country. And I don't know how many of you are aware that Stuxnet is one such example of that. Is anyone aware of the Stuxnet? Stuxnet is one such bot which is used to bring down the nuclear enrichment program of the Iran, which was driven to bring down the nuclear enrichment program of the Iran, and the entire nuclear reactor has been brought down without involving any weapons. Somebody sitting on the internet is only targeting to do such kind of attacks. So this is the kind of the threat landscape which is getting developed these days. GS is one such attack which is related to the bot, where all the financial data information have been stolen and millions and millions of dollars have been leaked out. Operation Aura is also one such thing, where it is a state-driven attack, where Chinese espionage has focused only on the organizations like Google, Adobe, and the stuff, where they have only targeted those kind of organizations. So how these, and the commonality which we see in these kind of attacks is that both these attacks are driven by the bots. So the threats landscape has changed. Now people are not talking about the viruses, or they are not talking about the intrusions which are happening. They are more worried about the kind of threats which bots are bringing to the organization or to the country. And one single bot, it can do multiple things at one given point of time. It can send the spam mails, it can attack the resources, bringing denial of service for an organization, bring down the resources which are used in the organization, and it can steal the data, the personal data, the public data. These kinds of malware sits onto your laptops or desktop and wait for an appropriate information to be exploited from the machine. If they don't get that information, they will be silently lying on your machine. And they are such powerful that they can easily enforce your antivirus to go down. Lying on your machine, get the proper information, get in touch with the command control center at the internet, and your machine will be controlled by somebody sitting on the internet. So if we have such kind of things which are happening, it's time to change the gear the way we are looking for the security as a perspective. It's not only looking for the infiltration, but we also have to track the exfiltration, what is going out from a network. Not only the IP address, but also the user, but also the machine, which machine is sending the data outside. Track the application, what kind of applications which are sending these kinds of data. Track the content, what is going out in that data. Track the geography, which part of the globe the traffic is moving, and then monitor the risk. So actually, the logs should be much more intelligent, and they should give us much more intuitive information than just the source IP or the destination IP and the stuff like that. So it's time to change the gear. So what is the checkpoint solution strategy to address these kind of things? So we say security should be looked as a business process, not just as a technology. And when we say it should look as a business process, it should involve people into the security framework. But once you involve people into the security framework, then you can make much more sense for the business. So that's the ideology what Checkpoint brings when you talk about the security and the innovation. How do we bring that? So there has to be a granular security which should per user, group and machine. So actually security should follow the user, no matter which IP user belongs to. Today I am having a laptop, I can have an iPhone, I can have a tab. Security should follow me wherever I am going. It should keep a track of the users. And the definitions of the security should be improvised using these kind of identity. So I should be able to track what is an ID of a user, and I should be able to track what are the applications a user is accessing. So much more controls on the basis of the applications. We all go to Facebook, but we know Facebook is one such application, and in such application we are having more than 8,000 such networking widgets, which are far more behind than what a normal URL filtering solution used to do. So we should be able to address with these technology these kind of things. And when we bring the people framework into the technology, we can actually define what a particular user is doing, what content he is sending onto the net, how we can track that. And bringing the framework of a user into the policy framework, you can actually ask him to respond. Whether this particular service is used for the business user, it's used for the personal use. There has to be much more logical justification that can be provided to the users. And same is the case that where we can educate the users. See, these are the things which generally happens to all of us. I am sending a data to somebody, and by the virtue of the way Outlook works, it can always pick up the first name, and it will not check the suffix which domain it belongs to. And by mistake we send the data. That's the incidental data loss which happens. How we can control that? We can bring the people framework into that particular part, and we can educate a user to review what has happened, what he has done, whether it's doing it intentionally or it's an accidental, and let him take a action what he should respond to. So you can actually prevent such kind of issues happening in the organization, educate the users, and enforce the data loss preventions. So actually if you see, it's a multi-thread protections which is there, which comprises of the anti-bot solutions, comprises the IPS, the URL filtering, antivirus, and the multiple such stuff. So it's a most comprehensive threat prevention solutions which can be deployed in the organizations. But when you talk about all these things, there is no control if there is without visibility. If we don't know what is happening in the network, we don't know which data is going out, which data is coming in, IP addresses and the stuff like that. So there has to be a unified management framework which should correlate all the events and give us much more information rather than just giving us the logs. So where you have the single unified dashboard which can show me what are the things related to the firewalling, related to the IPS, application control, DLP and the stuff. And then I can get much more details in the form of donors. How many hits are happening related to the application control or the URL filtering. And it can even give us the details about a specific application, what applications are related to what particular users, how much bandwidth they are using, what is the risk category of those applications, whether those applications falls into the critical risk category or the higher risk categories, and accordingly we can take an action depending upon that. So it will actually give me a 360-degree visibility of all the events which are happening. So let's have a look at one such incident where a particular user is accessing a Facebook as an application. It can actually give me the details of a specific user. It can provide me the details of a social networking site which they are visiting and the geography where which the traffic is growing. So we can see the user details. We can see the details from where the traffic has been originated, and we can see the details what particular time and how much a particular user is accessing a specific application. And you can track it on the basis of the geography. So you can decide which traffic to go to which part of the globe. Or if you don't want a traffic to come to your organization from a specific part, you can actually block that traffic from a specific part of the geo. So all those components can reside on an appliance from the checkpoint where you can get much more security on a single comprehensive devices. So there are multiple ranges of appliances which are there from the checkpoint. So I will not delve into much more products. We are here and we can discuss on these products in case you want much more details on that. So this is what about checkpoint. We are a market leader into the security framework. We have 100% focus onto the security part. We are 100% available on Fortune 100 companies and 98% available in the Fortune 500 companies. With this, I complete my representation. Thank you.